So hello, everybody. We were having some issues with Zoom, so that is why if you're catching this recording later, it's being posted in a different way. It didn't just jump into the Facebook group. So tonight we got some really fun stuff. Miss Tony Barnes is with us in Victoria.
Glad to be here. Hanging out with you guys, my favorite people.
Yes. Hey,
Some
Paula,
of my favorite people.
a little slideshow
Hey,
to... Oh, am I...
Yeah, I do. So
Go ahead.
Am I choppy? Oh boy.
Someone was choppy.
If I get choppy, I've had bad internet because I'm way far away from the router. If I get choppy and I drop, I will get closer to the router. So you won't lose me because I know I have this slideshow. So members have requested help with moving stale inventory, because that's the thing. Clearance is going on right now, and maybe the stuff that you paid full price or almost full price for, a month or so ago is going on clearance now, and lots of sellers are coming in. They got it cheaper, and maybe you're feeling stuck, or maybe the stuff you thought was going to sell didn't. So kind of want to give you some ideas, some tips for moving stale inventory, right? So I will share my little slideshow. We're just hanging out, having a discussion. This isn't like a super professional webinar, but sometimes whenever you're talking about technical things, it can be hard to sort of imagine. So I wanted to get them written down, and y'all can take screenshots of this, or we can post the slides or something, so you guys can have this information again.
Yeah, and there's a little document that I started creating for some stuff that we're going to discuss. So there's some videos that we already have in the Facebook group for some things that we're going to talk about tonight that y'all can go review. So
while we're going through the webinar, if the people that are on live with us, if you have stale inventory and you want to just put the ASIN out there, when we get to the Q&A, we can look them up for you and give you some tips about what we would do if we were stuck with that inventory. Sound good?
Awesome.
All right, so what is stale inventory? Really, you have to have your own definition. For me, it's inventory that's older than 90 days. To me, that's stale. I really need to get my money back out and put into something else that's moving faster. It's also tied up capital. It's not just a product sitting on the shelf. It's your money. Like, you spent money on that. It's tied up if it's just not moving, which also means opportunity cost, right? So if you have that money in that inventory, you can't go and buy something else because your money is stuck in there if you don't have unlimited funds, which none of us do, right? Mm-hmm. It's also costing you money the longer it sits. But of course, we're past Q4. Storage fees have gone back down to the normal rate. But this is a lesson to learn for next time, that you don't really want a ton of inventory sitting stale in December.
That's right. Yeah, or even throughout the Q4 months. Like, if you accidentally overbought, don't be afraid to get that stuff removed. And also, removal rates are changing. If you haven't noticed those, they announced that, a month ago, 2 months ago. Right. So it's actually, the bigger the item, the more you're going to pay. It's no longer just this flat rate like it used to be. So now it's, if it's smaller items, I think it's as low as 25 cents a unit. And if it's bigger items, it goes up pretty substantially. So if you're storing really large toys and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So some things may be cheaper, but a lot of things can be more expensive to remove. And then it's also affecting your IPI, that new score that they give us for how much storage we can have. So if you have a ton of inventory that's not moving, that's going to affect your turn rate. And so if your turn rate keeps going down, you may wind up with storage limitations, right? And we talked about the lessons. So to find your stale inventory, you may not know exactly what your percentage of stale inventory is if you don't actually go and look at these numbers. So to find it, you want to go to your inventory dashboard and scroll down until you get to your inventory age. So these are my numbers from today. I have 87% in 0 to 90 days, and then 12%-ish that's aged over 90 days. And Robin Johnson says that for retail arbitrage sellers, she wants to see 80% and higher in your 90-day. Less than 90 day. So if your numbers are better than 80%, if this number is better than 80%, then you're pretty healthy. But if you're getting, 10%, and you're getting really high up here, you need to stop and take a look at what your buying decisions have been to get you to the stale inventory, being excessive, and figure out what you're doing. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. And it definitely depends, like you said, she mentioned retail arbitrage, the model at which you're doing. Like if you're a long tail bookseller, your numbers are going to look a lot different. And even wholesale, it all depends on what your buying method is. People that are buying and holding more could be a lot worse. But
So
I think that's a really good number. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm curious about people listening. Go check your inventory age real quick and put in your inventory age. What's your 0 to 90 days percentage? I'm interested in knowing. Are you guys beating me? Is anyone better than 82%? I know Victoria's beating me. She definitely beats me. I'm curious. So our agenda stuff we're going to be talking about today, we're going to discuss coupons, sales, ad campaigns, when to take a loss, when to remove and hold or relist. And then I didn't really put a slide for cross-listing and multi-channel fulfillment because there's stuff going around in the groups about drop shipping on eBay and do they like it, do they not? I'm not a big eBay seller. All I do is Amazon. So if anybody else has tips or suggestions for even cross-listing, if it's not selling on Amazon, maybe it'll sell somewhere else. And you do have that multi-channel fulfillment option. So that's out there. Did we get any numbers from inventory age?
I'm at 84. Chris is 83. There's a few different ones out there.
Okay.
This
is you.
There's definitely, so like I know on my inventory, there's a few private label things. I say private label, just unique listings of my own that did not do that great, and I'm tweaking things, and so definitely Amazon saying, hey, you have excess inventory of these, and just remember the big picture. I think it's really good, drilling into like the nitty gritty, the IPI, the inventory age, all these things are really good, but we need to remember what Amazon is trying to get us to do. They want to be a pass-through system. They don't want to charge you storage fees. That's not where they make money. Definitely during Q4 they make money there, but they really make money by the more that they can fulfill. And so with that in mind, like understand that's the top goal, right? Is what you're trying to do is turn that inventory.
Turn the inventory.
And they're penalizing us if we don't. That's really, like, they didn't used to do that. They just got a lot more serious about it.
Right. And if we go back, how do I go back? I'm going too far forward. Okay. If we go back, if you can turn your inventory in 90 days and, you're making, let's just say, a 50% ROI, but then the stuff out here you're holding on because, oh, that's 100% ROI or whatever. Well, if it takes 180 days to turn, you did better with your 50% ROI stuff.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. So coupons, I have just discovered coupons and I'm in love. I love coupons. They're so easy. Has anyone done a coupon? Post in the chat if you've run a coupon on anything. They're great. I did a couple of videos in the group and we'll give you links to the videos that I did showing how to do a coupon. Basically, the coupon, you load your ASINs into the coupon, you tell it how much of a percent you're going to give off, and you do get charged 60 cents per coupon, but there's a special page on Amazon where people go to just look at coupons. So you get like this whole extra space where you're not competing with all these other people. And there's a coupon badge. So it actually increases the visibility, like your space on the browser. So I really like it because you don't get charged for clicks, you get charged for the sale. So based on my numbers here, if you can you see my mouse? I think you can, right? Based on these, like the $250 spend, that is the 5% discount and the cost of the coupon. Because I'm just doing a 5%, the very minimum. So that's less than 10% ACOS. This is like a little less than 10% ACOS. So I'm running like about a 10% ACOS, which can seem really high if you have an auto campaign that's doing like 3 or 4%. But some of the auto campaign, as we'll talk about later, it really can get out of control with click, 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 and no sales. So I really like these.
Paula just posted a question. She said none of them might have been used yet. So Paula, my question would be, are you being competitive for the buy box? Are you within that, 2% range? And also what's the traffic kind of like on these items.
So I'll tell you, I'm sorry, Paul.
Go ahead.
All of my coupons here, everything was on stale inventory only. Stuff that had been sitting in there for, I think, over 6 months. I put in 180 days plus on all this inventory, and it was not moving, even with the ad campaign, trying to be the lowest price seller. And as soon as I threw these coupons, you can tell I started, let's see, where's my best one so far? This one here. I started this one on, okay, so it started on 1/13, and I don't have the date that I stopped it, but I actually paused it like 7 days later, a week later. So I wish I had a screenshot of that, but it only ran for a week. So it did really well to move the inventory that had been sitting there forever. Because it's, what is today? The 27th? So this is only like, even if it were still running, it would still be 14 days old. But this is actually, this is a canceled coupon.
And it's interesting, the rate of the clips and the rate of the redeemed. Because you would think people that would clip them would just use them, but they must just, maybe they clip them if they don't want it to run out or whatever. But I've used coupons on items that when I'm launching a listing, like if I'm testing a bundle or something like that, I'll run coupons with a exact match campaign. And then I also do the early reviewer program. And if you're trying to like launch something that's not super competitive, I found that it worked quite well. And like you said, I think one of the biggest things is that you get extra real estate especially on the app. When people are scrolling, they see that badge, like you're talking about, that 5% off. I even like to do like just $1 and test, play around with those different numbers where it's like either percentage or an actual dollar amount. But I think regardless, people do like them. And I would be curious to see what the buy box share percentage is. Like if you're the only one doing a coupon, and let's say there's 5 other sellers matching you, if Amazon's going to give that to you every time or not.
I have no idea how to even gauge that or track that.
I would think that Amazon would reward you for it. But
maybe so.
You never know. That's just a hunch.
Yeah. This is one that I don't use too often, putting a sale on the items. I think maybe I could probably experiment with it a little bit more. Whenever you do a sale on an item, you go to your inventory screen, and way over on the right, that little drop down action bar, you would just click that, and there's a create a sale option. And then you get this page, and you can put in a sale price. And I kind of gave you an example of what it looks like. It'll say was, crossed out, price, and then you save. So this is what it shows to the customer. There's no increase in real estate. There's no cost for doing it. So this is kind of, I think, the cheapest way to try to get more sales, but also there's the least visibility with it, right? So maybe this could be step 1 for trying to move your inventory.
It could, definitely.
Does anybody else have experience? If you're watching, if you've done a sale or know anything, or if it works for you, give us some feedback in the chat. So auto ads. Victoria, do you do ads on your stuff?
No, I should maybe on some of them, but no, not currently.
This is something that this group taught me last year, and it paid for the cost of the group. Just running an all ASIN auto campaign. And this is a screenshot of my ad campaign today. So you can tell the ACOS is all over the place. So I've got a 4%, I've got a 31%, I've got a 20%. And so it's really just all, and then I have some where I have spend, but no sales. So it's really hit and miss depending on the mix of products in it.
What's your overall?
You're doing,
you got it. Okay. So let's see. Yeah. So that 4.25 is your overall. So you've got them separated out, your auto kit.
I do. And I realized, because if I have an item in there that's really competitive and see the spend of $83, that could be one item where someone is click, 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 or multiple people. I don't know that it's just one person, but lots of customers clicking on the same item for whatever reason. It's being viewed a ton, but there's no sales, and there goes my daily budget for my entire inventory.
Right.
So I actually have groups of 50 items in each of these campaigns. So it kind of safeguards my budget.
Gotcha. Let me, do you know about the thing they changed recently where you can actually choose how relevant the keywords are that are shown on the auto campaigns?
I think you've talked about going in and changing some stuff inside the
It's
campaign.
vital to keep your ACoS down. I mean, my ACoS was going way up. My ACoS is 3% overall on, wow, that's crazy. 21,000 in sales, 641 spend.
Nice. So do you have a post where people can go and look and see what they should adjust?
I can make another video. I mean, I can go live right now and show it really quick.
You want me to stop?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, we can resume back to it.
Yeah, so let me.
So there's a question. I'm going to answer the question about coupons while you're doing that.
Yep.
Do you know if your item is $89.99 with a $1 coupon? First problem with that is it does have to be a minimum of 5%. So you do need to figure out, is 5% going to put you losing money, or are you still profitable with a 5% coupon?
Yeah.
And then let me see if I can get the rest of that question.
So we're going to go to campaigns.
So the buy box will still say the $89.99. The customer has to clip the coupon to get the discount. And sometimes they don't clip the coupon and they pay full price. So you don't always have to pay for the coupon to get the sale because sometimes they don't clip it. Hope that helps, Chris.
All right, ready to show this process?
Go ahead, please.
All right, so you're going to go to create campaign and you're going to go to sponsored products. And you can just leave, we just call this auto test. Start date, daily budget, you can do whatever you want. I mean, I think I would set mine like $20, but again, all depends on your budget. We'll just do 10. Automatic targeting. And then we're going to keep coming down here. I think I leave it at dynamic bids and bid down only. And you got to keep scrolling down. So this is where you would load them. I do the ad group name as the same. So this would be also the same as it would be auto test. And then, you know, depending on how many SKUs you have, so like on this particular account, there's only 280 items. So I'll just hit add all on this page, next. And then add all on this page, next. And then just go from there. And then your default bid, you can drop that. Do you drop yours down, Tony?
I think I had settled on 7 cents.
Yeah,
I was kind of going up and down.
I think I did 5. So again, Amazon's going to suggest these outlandish bids. But then this is where you can switch it up. Okay, I couldn't remember where it was. So you actually don't do default bid, you do set bids by targeting group. And so this close match, and you can just hover over this little I to give you the further explanation, but basically close match is like super relevant keywords to what is being typed in. And then the loose match is just that, it's loosely related. So again, a little bit, you know, it's still kind of relevant, but not that good. And then substitutes, so they're just like, Amazon's basically like almost making stuff up at this point. They're just like throwing your stuff out there. So it says we'll show it to use detail pages of products similar to yours. And then we'll show your ads who view the detail pages of products that complement your product, which is like, how in the world do you even know what that is? So you can turn these off. Go ahead.
The explanation kind of gives you an idea. Like if someone types feather pillows, they'll show your cotton.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So it gives you some ideas. But what I did is I turned the bottom 2 off, and you can even get really specific about it and just keep close match on if you wanted to. And so that way your keywords are going to be super relevant to what's being searched versus if you just set it at a default bid and they're just going to scatter your stuff out everywhere. Like if you actually pull the search term reports, you'll see ASINs on there as well. And so those ASINs, you know, it's just, that means it's just being shown on a product detail page on somebody else's. So again, you can adjust this down. to 5 cents if I wanted to. And again, this is just going to keep that ACoS really, really low. And I could do that dynamic bidding where it bids up and down right here if I wanted to. But if I wanted to be super conservative, I could just have it bid down only. And then if I had negative keywords, this is where you don't want Amazon to show up or to bid, like to double bid. Let's say you're running an exact match campaign for candy bars, and a lot of your products are also candy bars. You don't want Amazon to be double bidding against itself. So you would put in here candy bars, and it's not going to show up. Okay, and it's going to recommend a bunch of different search terms as well. And then you would hit add keywords and then launch campaign. And I'll go ahead and edit that later. So this is what you'll see right here, and then it'll tell you to go to your campaign manager and all that fun stuff. So
thank you. Thanks for showing us that. So you mentioned something that sparked a question for me, pulling the report, you said?
The search term report.
Yeah. So let's just imagine that there's no value in the auto campaign because, your ACoS is 30% or whatever. So you're really losing money there. But do you think that those reports for what people are searching is really what's the value there? Isn't that basically?
There's definitely value there.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just depends on what your access is, right? Like what, do you have access to certain products? You're talking about for like launching your own products and things like that.
Either for ideas of what else to sell, what people are looking for, the golden gaps that people talk about, what people are searching for and can't find.
So the golden gap thing, there's this thing called brand analytics for which I imagine many of us won't have, but it's for trademark brands. And so you can actually see the total search volume for certain search terms under those brand analytics.
Okay.
So you no longer have to dig into all that. Now, definitely the search volume, like you can tell what's going on. But, in today's world, like maybe like what you could do is pull that search term report and get some ideas and then go do some deeper hunting to see kind of what's moving. But also your sales are going to tell you what's moving too, right? Like if you've got things that are just blowing it out the water, you're going to go, well, I need more of that, right? If things are, this is more for like if your ACoS is 30% and you want to drive that down to below 10, you want to figure out why, why that is. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Stephanie, thanks for joining. Hey, Tamara. Hopefully I'm not butchering that. Everybody just joining. If you have an ASIN that you want us to analyze to help you move some stale inventory, throw it in the comments and we'll get to it during Q&A session. So we're going to go back to our slideshow. We're talking about these different ways to move inventory. We stopped on the auto ad campaign. So I'm definitely doing something wrong with my 31% ACoS there. But
oh, that's all good.
We'll fix it. We'll get there.
No, and that again, it could just be that particular search term,
or mix of products that I have.
And what I would do is look at that, and if it's 30% and you don't want to be spending that money, then just turn it off.
Right.
Like if it costs you $83 to generate $267 in gross, that could be all your profit. And you're just breaking even, which might be okay.
Just to get it moved. Yeah. And that's why I put it on my, so you can see my name and my ads over here, my slow moving inventory and my age plus 90 days. It's basically, for me, it's dead product anyway. I just need my money, part of my money back, so I can put it in better moving inventory. Okay. So aged inventory report, how to get it. It used to be you could go to Seller Central and you could do you could sort your inventory by these dates, but they've taken away, sometime in Q4 this happened, they took away that ability. So you actually have to download a report if you're going to get your aged inventory and try to work on your oldest things. So that's really inconvenient. So here's some steps if you want to screenshot this so you can have the steps. You download your report, you want to freeze the top row and then select it all and then go to the custom sort. And this is your custom sort option. You can sort by your ages that you want and then turn it on to largest to smallest. That way you get those results up at the top of your report, right? So a little bit of technical tips there. Hope that helps somebody.
Hmm.
We're not all very techy.
Hey, Tony, really quick to your question. You were asking about the search terms. So there's not even really a report that you have to pull. I'm looking at my all SKUs campaign. And when you click into the campaign, it says like, there's some headers at the top where it says ads, targeting, negative targeting. And then it says new search terms. So you can click that where it says search terms and then sort the clicks. And so I'm looking at the,
do you want to share? Because I'm having such a hard time picturing
yes.
what you're saying.
Well, it's kind of.
No? Is it sensitive?
It is, yeah.
Okay. No worries.
A little bit. So, yeah, I'll try to make a video of this and like blur out the sensitive information. But the thing is like, again, what I was saying earlier, I know it's blowing it out of the water under my account. And this is in particular, like, this is all replenishable stuff. These are things that we're selling 500 plus units of a month. So of course I would be like, well, that makes sense. But what also really helps is like, this is the exact search term. Okay. So if what this would help with is optimizing the listing. If this exact search term, which is being clicked on a bunch, if it's not in the title, I need to bump it up there in the title.
There you go.
If I can manipulate the listing.
There you go.
So, but then
Good
it
tip.
also shows ASINs. So I can copy paste that ASIN into Seller Central and be like, why am I showing up on this ASIN and what is it? And should I go and pursue it? And try to
Okay. So it gives you more.
gives you more data. Yeah.
Yeah. What your competition might be.
Yes.
Or what keywords you may want to.
Yeah. So I'm going to
put in your
search this
listing.
ASIN. Oh, I know what
Cool.
the ASIN is. Okay. Never mind.
Thank you.
Yep. All right.
So now you have your aged inventory and we want to start dealing with it. So how do you make decisions on each individual thing, right? So there's questions that I ask myself. I want to know, like, where did I buy this from? Is everything that I'm buying from a certain store tanking? So just try to notice your trends. How much did I pay for this item? We were talking about Kohl's at the beginning of the video. It's not recorded, so if you're listening to the replay, you missed this part. Someone was asking questions about Kohl's, and we were talking about the terrible stickers that are super hard to get off. And we were mentioning, hey, if they're still on 60% clearance, if they're not marked all the way down to 80 or 90, you probably don't want to spend the time and effort to try to peel those stickers back because they're likely going to be reduced even further. So paying attention to what you spent on these items can help you make better decisions in the future. Like if you're shopping at 60% off clearance and you're noticing these things are tanking and you're getting stuck with them, mental note to yourself, wait till it's 80%, right? 80 or 90. So are the things that are stale, are they seasonal? Stuff that you may have went too deep on, advent calendars, costumes. I don't know anything else right off the top of my head. Victoria, anything else that may go stale, like super popular movie or something?
A movie, yeah, that fizzled that you thought was going to be bigger than it was,
or if you had last year's data. This happened to me a bunch where I went off of last year's sales on an item that did really good, bought a ton of it the next year, and there was just way more inventory in all the retail stores, and then it got flooded. So that would, definitely be seasonal type thing.
So definitely before I make any decisions, I always look at Keepa. And if it's bad right now, I look at this time last year. Do all the price tanker sellers, do they get off real fast and then maybe the price will go up when the supply is really low? So that allows the price to increase when there's not as much available in the market. So kind of looking at the Keepa trends will help me make a decision about whether to hold it, or that I need to take my own price and just get my money back because this is not going to rebound. Keepa never shows that it rebounds, right? And then checking your competition, their stock levels. Keepa will give you a little bit of data about your competition stock levels, but you really need a tool like ASIN to really dig in and see how much the competition has in stock.
It's technically called AZN site, made by ASIN. But then there's another tool. There's another one called How Many out there, and there's a way for sellers to hide their inventory levels. And so if somebody does have 500 but it only says 2, that is something that can happen.
Is that the max quantity that you
Mhm.
can order? Max
That's
quantity
correct.
limit? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I haven't dug into it super deep, but there are tools. I want to say that How Many has figured out how to actually see past that amount. And it'll actually show you what their true inventory levels are. Because if you're only figuring, if they're in the buy box and they're below, let's say below everybody else's price by 20%, and you're like, oh, they only have one, they're going to be out soon, and then you look again in 3 weeks and they still only have one, but the rank is like 2,000 in toy. That's just because you can't see their true inventory levels.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it's again, like, no one has a crystal ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that, I'm pretty sure How Many will show you.
Right. And some of the stuff you just have to learn as you go.
Mm-hmm.
So, and another problem with especially clothing, is, did the listing get orphaned? Is it detached from its parent listing? If you go to your listing that's stale and you go to the actual Amazon page, if there are no options for other sizes or other colors, if it's just that one item with that size and that's the only thing you can buy on that screen, then it's an orphaned listing. And it's probably not going to sell very well because it's super hard for the customer to find. So that would be something that you would either want to fix, learn how to fix, or just destroy and call it good, because it's going to take time to fix it.
One thing that you have to figure into, like, actually calculate out if you're going to get something removed or destroyed or something like that. Like, let's say it cost you $10 for the item, and if you sold it at the current low price, you're only going to get $5 back out of it. That's still $5, right? So, and what if it takes you an hour just to fix the issue or whatever, to handle it and all the stuff? Just take the $5 and wipe your hands clean, or, destroy it if you have to, or whatever it is. So just think about those things, about what you're spending your time on. Are you only, are you stepping over dollars to make pennies?
Right.
Yeah.
Good point. So here's that problem with the orphaned. You can tell in listing, you can almost tell by the rank of an item. So this 9 million, almost 10 million ranked item, I can tell without even going to it that this is an orphaned listing, just because the rank is so outrageous and it's, it's climbing. So that would be one that I would either destroy or hand off to a service to help get fixed.
Yeah.
So here's another clothing that this is from my inventory. So I have this stale thing and I'm like, it's ranked 79,000 in clothing. That's decent. What's wrong with it? And it's because the price is tanked. But I'm not going to destroy it and I'm not going to bring it back. And here's why: because there's 2 sellers at this low price, but then the price jumps way up, almost $6 increase. And we're coming up on, the season for this. That's loud.
Can you hear that train?
Yeah, a little bit. That's okay. I thought someone was honking, so I was a little concerned. Anyway, so that's why I'm going to keep it, is because there's only 2, like Keep is telling me, there's one left in stock there, one there, and then there's a coupon. So there's how it actually appears to the customer. You get a 5% off at checkout if you click the coupon. So and then there's only, two sellers at the cheap price, and then the price goes up. So I'm actually going to keep this in here even though it's stale. So
good deal.
Hope that helps a little bit.
Yeah, you want to go back to that one item that was orphaned there. And this is actually a strategy that I used to use whenever, this was a few years ago, when doing arbitrage, and I would find these listings that they should be all under the same variation, but they're not, right? So, like, the issue with this is that it's separated out to where, like, it's a certain size, a certain color, and it's the only one on the listing. But you can do a quick search on Amazon to see if there's a bunch of singles, or if there's even a parent ASIN with all the individuals, and you can actually add that variation back into them rather quickly. Again, it all depends on your time, how much the item is, and all that. It might be better to pay a service, or if you can just do it quickly, you can just throw it right back in. And sometimes it's almost easier to just open a case and ask Amazon to do it for you. Just say, hey, this ASIN, this child ASIN belongs to this parent ASIN, please add them. attitude.
I have tried that recently and it did not work. It was a no.
They said, you do it.
Yes.
Yeah. So virtual assistant or yourself or tools, service. Maybe
so and maybe you didn't even realize this was a thing. So if you're shopping at Kohl's, Chris said he had his first big trip. Chris, if you can, go back through your stuff and see if there's anything listing, anything that's orphaned. It may be beneficial to you if you're a newer seller to just return those things that are super high ranked. But this can happen. You buy an item that's perfectly fine when you buy it, and then all of a sudden it does get orphaned. So sometimes there's nothing you can do about it.
Yep.
It was no fault of your own. And this happens when people add information to a listing and then they delete their listings. And sometimes that kind of throws off child ASINs for whatever reason.
Yeah, there's a million reasons for them to get orphaned.
Yeah. So here is an item. I got to move our faces here. Item number 1, rank is not great, but the profit is pretty good, $34 in profit. There's only one FBA offer. So even though my rank is climbing really high, I have room to drop my profit. So this is kind of a stale thing. Like it's been kind of hanging out in my inventory, but I'm the only offer and there's plenty of profit for it. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it in. Right.
So question, was that the Keepa chart for this item? Yep. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Go to the Keepa chart. So
it can depend on your time frame too. If you were so here's some data like April, springtime. This is the season for this item. Springtime here, and then it kind of dies off a little bit. So now would be the time to get it in. And then if I still have it in April, I'm probably gonna think about pulling it back and doing something else with it.
So it looks like it sells when it's in stock.
Mm-hmm. Except for here.
Except for right there, but the price is higher. So go back to AZ Insight. So what I would do in this scenario is I would drop that price.
Mm-hmm.
I would tank
Mm-hmm.
if I'm the only one on there, and I'd take that 72 and drop it down to 49,
mm-hmm.
And just get in, get out, and move it. Yeah. Because if you go back to Keepa, it's moving, at that $50 range, roughly,
right.
Maybe around there. So I would think that it would move around that price, and it all depends on what it is. Is it the fact that it's $25 overpriced? Could be, maybe not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we're looking. This is 100, and this is 50, and this could be where it is now.
Mm-hmm.
That's 25 over the lowest price here.
That's
so,
right.
Maybe if I do drop it, maybe I'll try. I'll drop it, and I'll report back if this thing sells.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, move my stale inventory.
Right.
So item number 2, this one I chose to take a loss on. I was the price taker. Sorry, guys. I'm taking a loss on this item just so I can get rid of it. Okay. So, and here's why, because, it's got some movement, but it's slowing down, but the price is just going down, 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 down. And the number of sellers is decreasing, but not as fast as I would like. This could take another month or 2 for it to sell. And this actually, the size of the item, you can't tell on here, but it's a large standard. So the fees are going to be higher than a smaller item. So, and then I tried to figure out at what point would my price be break even? So I would need to add about $3 to my price. I need to be about $17.50-ish to actually even make a profit. And I calculated from what the stock checker for AZ Insight could tell me, 147 items were in front of me to even break even. So I only had 5, so I'm just going to list them at a $3 loss and get my, $8 back.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my strategy. So I kind of take into consideration, what is Keepa doing? Do we have a bunch of sellers? What is the trend on the price? How many, what's my break-even price, and how many people are in front of me?
Yep.
So that's kind of what you need to look at.
And this is why, sometimes many times I say get in, get out, as a great strategy, because if you were, I don't know back at December 1st, when that FBA price was the highest,
Yeah, before everybody came in.
Before everyone came in. Yeah, early bird got the worm right there. And then boom, that price within a week, December 8th, it was way down. And then it kept going way down. And so if, let's say I wanted to hold at that highest FBA price and I was expecting it to go back up, well, then you just maybe just got stuck with a bunch of inventory versus if you just followed that price down with everyone else, because it's just naturally going to happen,
Right. And you're making a great point on repricers. You need a repricer. If you have stale inventory, do you have a repricer? Because if you don't have a repricer, you're going to naturally just end up with more stale inventory because prices change all the time.
Yep.
So there's also a second consideration. What are you setting your minimum at? Sure, we all want to make 75% ROI. But if you're setting your minimum at 75%, you're really not doing yourself a service. A repricer is supposed to keep you in the buy box. My perspective has changed over the last 3 years. I used to set a 40% minimum, and then I set it at a 20% minimum, and then I went to a 15% minimum. Now I have my repricer set at a 0% minimum because I'm not buying at a 0%. I will never buy anything for 0%. That's ridiculous. But I buy where I want to sell, but I know that it's not going to stay there. There's going to be stuff that tanks. Now, don't take this as like, what everybody should be doing. You have your own business, you make your own decisions. But my perspective is, if it's going to tank, I want to sell all the way down.
Yeah.
I want to be in the buy box all the way down.
Yeah. And what it makes you do is adjust your buying. That's when you make your money. You make your money at the buy, not at the sell, right?
Yes.
So what you're doing is you're gathering all your data at the purchase time and then saying, okay, I'm pretty sure this price is going to hold, blah, blah, blah. Or like if it's Q4, I need to get it in tomorrow and get it out. But like what you're saying is you're really, you're banking on the buy time, not on the sell time. You obviously don't want it to sell, and you want those losses to be minimal. But
I would say if you're penny dropping, if you're one of those, and I don't blame you, I've done it before. It's been part of my strategy. If you're beating the buy box by a penny, I'm not mad at you. But if you're doing that, you don't want to set a 0% ROI because you will get there.
Yeah.
So you probably want a higher ROI.
So let's talk about what they should be doing, and that's matching. Or, I would say matching. I've done penny above, and I've noticed a massive buy box decline.
Your percentage of share.
Correct. Yeah. And I mean, I know that you can be rotated in within that 2%, but if there's 10 sellers all matching and I'm 2% over them, it's going to take a hot minute to be rotated in. And again, it just depends on the velocity. Slower movers, faster movers. There's a lot of.
Victoria, what do you match buy box, right?
Yeah, I match always.
Yeah. So I've been the penny dropper and I've done all of it.
My strategy when I have rarely competed with Amazon, when I'm going, hey, I've got this on like crazy clearance price, when I'm competing with Amazon, I typically like 100 to a 200% ROI, and I'll beat them by 5 cents and just be really aggressive and just see, all right, Amazon, how low will you go? And just because I know that that's how they play, and I'm not going to get the buy box when I share with them, maybe on a rare occasion, but most of the time not. So I'm really aggressive when I know I'm going head to toe with Amazon, but not other FBA sellers.
Right. And that was kind of what I was going to get at. I just want to share my, what my practice is. Checking to see if Amazon is on the listing is not actually one of my data points that I gather. I mean, I'll look at Keepa and I'll notice that either they are or they aren't. And if they are, I look at their trend, and if they're wild, up and down, I kind of like to see, well, what's the lowest they've ever gone, and am I profitable at that point?
Right.
But I showed you my stale inventory. I'm still turning, 87% of my stuff is 0 to 90 days. So I wouldn't be scared. Like, don't be scared, because it's real. Sometimes it can be hard to find listings that Amazon's not on. And you can get discouraged if you're just constantly having to pass on stuff that Amazon's on. So that's just my 2 cents. What do you think, Victoria? Do you sell against Amazon?
No, I'm not scared of Amazon. I'll fight with
I ain't scared.
Do you have a different strategy when Amazon's on, or you just do your normal?
No, I mean, in the beginning, I just, at their current price, I would, assume if I could match them, would I still make money? If I went $1 less, would I still make money? Now that Tony has shown me the ways of Keep It, I look to see their lowest point, and if it's still profitable there, then I go for it too. But I still match them, and it seems to be okay with me.
Good deal.
Okay, good. All right. Did we get any questions or anything? Oh, hey, I wanted to ask a question to the people watching. Do you guys have a repricer? And what's your minimum? I'm just curious. What are you working for your business? What works for you for a minimum ROI? I'm curious what you guys are, because I've done 40, I've done 20, I'm at 0 now. So I'm curious.
So Victoria, you're saying that you're not noticing a big difference in buy box share with Amazon.
No. And I mean, occasionally there's those, couple off products that they just don't share, and then you have to go. But for the most part, when I match them, I still get sales.
So, and that's in any major categories? Is that toy, clothing?
Yeah, toys. I would say a solid 70% of my inventory is toys. So
toys.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I think what I'm more referring to is sports and outdoors and clothing.
Yeah.
So when I was doing really heavy Marshalls, TJ Maxx, that was one of my, like, I eventually told all my shoppers, stay away from Amazon. If you see Amazon on the listing, don't even get it. And even a lot of it was like they were out of stock for a month, and then I got the item, and then they came back in, and then we had the item for the next 6 months because they
I hate that. Oh, I hate that.
So, but it sounds like in the category of toy that they're moving a lot of that. So
I think it's just the velocity of it more so. I mean,
sure. I would imagine velocity and brand.
Yeah.
Would be.
It seems like maybe category could factor into. So Chris is saying he's sharing with Amazon in kitchen, and you can't touch the buy box. Does that mean, Chris, that you're not getting sales? You're not getting the buy box? I'm going to take that to mean not getting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, and I think it again depends on the brands and that category. And you never know what their algorithms are like on the backside.
Yeah, because I've sold plenty of kitchen stuff too, and my stale stuff is mostly shoes and clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a lot of it's orphaned. I think that's the biggest problem that I have.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know about if it's.
I think it's interesting that there's 3 sellers on this panel, right? And we all have a different viewpoint of. Yeah, they share, maybe kind of. Well, we all have a mixed bag, right, of inventory. So, ranked 83 in kitchen. So that would say to me that's some like, KitchenAid or some other.
Wait, is this a subcategory? Because if you're selling,
that's what my first thought was.
Yeah.
Is that a subcategory?
Ranked 83 and not selling? I would want to see the Keep It chart.
Can you PM one of us to the ASIN, Chris?
Yeah.
And we'll check it out real quick.
Good stuff. I'm interested in that.
Yeah, that is really good.
Julia's doing a 0% ROI. Chris does 25%.
Paula said she's noticed that they're more stingy on buy box with clothing.
There's the ASIN for that.
Yeah, I'm going to grab that.
We'll get you an answer, Chris.
Let's get to
work.
We'll
tell you we don't know. All right, so next slide here. We just have a few more, and then we're going to be at question and answer. Remove and hold. Should you remove the item and just hold on to it? This was everything that I can think of, because this isn't really my strategy. Victoria does a lot more of this. I don't have the space to remove and hold, and Paul and I are more of a get it in, get it gone kind of sellers. So Victoria, talk to us.
Yeah, I'm pretty guilty of overbuying on purpose, not on accident, and holding it. If it's good, like now when I buy it, but I see it on clearance at every single Walmart or everything like that, like I can tell, I'm so much in the toy aisle, and I just kind of know toys to begin with, that I know by rank and velocity, like if it's so low that it can't possibly keep up with the low tanking, like if Walmart's clearancing them out, it's going to be hard to find, and it's going to bounce back, then I'll buy them all and I'll throw them upstairs in my spare bedroom. I got some shelves and stuff up there. I don't recommend doing this though if you don't have capital
To
in
spare.
a little bit of abundance. I mean, if I was spending all my capital in a month, I wouldn't do this. But I don't spend all my capital. I have more to spend than I find products. So I'll put them up there and I'll hold them. I would say, most of the time it works out. That sometimes I've been really burned and I'm giving these away at kids' birthday parties, whether it's age appropriate or not. I'm like, you take this, I don't want it anymore. But it's for the most part, I like it. For things, if I see something on clearance at multiple stores, I will send in waves. See how it sells at first. I don't send in everything all at once, just in case it does bottom out and tank, then I don't have to pull it back. But if again, I'm right next to Dallas, my stuff gets checked in 3 days. So if I see it moving, I can get it there again and replenish it pretty quickly. If I see it tanking, well, then I'll just throw it upstairs and forget about it for, a month or so.
There you go.
Hey, Tony.
But certain brands too, like Legos always bounce back.
Yeah.
These old movies that got replaced with a better movie, they don't dump them. They're dead, and it's practice maybe.
Yeah, good stuff. Can I share my screen, Tony?
Yes.
And
let me
we're
stop here.
Chris, really quick, let me confirm. Can I share that ASIN? You posted the ASIN. I'm sure it's okay.
Yeah, he kind of shared it.
Just want to make sure. Okay, cool. We're going to dissect this really quick. All right. So 2 different tools that I've got here. I got AZ Insight and BuyBot Pro. BuyBot Pro is a pretty neat tool.
I have never seen that.
They're side by side. One thing that I do like about BuyBot Pro is this really neat variation thing right here. So Chris, one thing about this listing is there are buku variations, 102. Lots of reviews. So if we check out this review percentage here on AZ Insight, and this thing's it's counting up tons and tons of reviews. So it takes a little minute. BuyBot Pro is pretty quick. So what I'm doing right here is I'm sorting the reviews. And the reason is because in this particular category, all of the reviews go into the sales rank. Okay, so they're not separated. It's not like each child ASIN has its own sales rank. They are all showing a sales rank of 83. And the only way to know the velocity of which one is moving is based off of reviews. So the fastest moving one has 38% of the reviews. It's this 10-inch wide wavy edge bread knife. Okay. And then the numbers drastically drop down, right? Okay, so this one has 7% of the reviews, 5% of the reviews, 4%, so on and so forth. Until we keep going down. So what we want to know is the ASIN that you sent us, does it have any reviews? And the answer is that is a negative. So there are sellers. Amazon is in stock of this item. But to our knowledge, there are no reviews of this ASIN, which would explain to me why it's not moving. There's so many ASINs, or there's so many variations that people, like when it's in the list style like this, people have so many options of what they're going for. And for whatever reason, they all want that 10-inch bread knife and not the 6-inch flexible boning knife. So that is, that's the rub to me. So the reality is unfortunately, we just don't know how fast it's going to move. Now, there's one other thing that I would add to here, and that is Keepa. Okay, so just because there's no reviews doesn't mean that it's not selling at all. It just means that we really aren't sure. So when we're looking at Keepa, we can see, some new count offers dropping out. We don't know if that's sales or if it is people removing their inventory. I would assume it's sales. But like right here, it goes from 4 offers to 1. So it looks like it is moving. It could be because the price was low. And then there's a few other sellers jumping in and now it's going up. So you got 2 options to see if it's moving. You can drop below Amazon and just keep, being super competitive, but you can see that Amazon has gone as low as $10.49 in the last 30 days. So be prepared to go at least that low. And that's really the only way to see if it's going to move, you know? So does that make sense? You have any other thoughts on that, Tony?
So my thought process is these tools are great, but you're in the store shopping. So how do you tell? The first thing I would do anytime I'm looking at a new product that I'm not familiar with, Keepa always. So go back down to the Keepa, please. You can see the red warning sign down there. Warning, this sales rank history is of the parent ASIN. So you saw that 83, that's of all of the, a parent ASIN is the collection of all the variations. So every time a variation sells, it makes the rank of all of them better. So it could be that this item is never sold, but it still has a rank of 83 because it's a variation. So when I see the variation, I automatically go, so I start in Scoutify, I go to Keepa. I haven't yet looked at the listing yet. So I go to Keepa, I see the red flag, then I go to the listing and I check out how many variations are. So, and then if I see so many variations, I can't really tell, well, does my knife sell? And then I look at the reviews. And when someone leaves a review, it tells you what they reviewed on the listing. So you could just kind of quickly scroll. And if you don't see in the first 10, 15, if you don't see your item, pass. Just move on because it's taking too much time. Unless you're looking at a potential $100 profit or something like that. For this simple knife that maybe is a, $2, $3 profit, I don't know. Taking that amount of time to figure out, will my knife sell? I would probably just put it down. Unless there's a stack of 20 of them in front of me. There's all kinds of variation, all kinds of things you need to think about. That'd be my process. So
you just answered his question. How can you source something like this? So that's how we would source that, Chris, is just by quickly perusing the reviews. And that's pretty much it. Do either of y'all use ScanPower?
I have it, but the camera takes so much. It's like half a second longer than Inventory Lab, but I'm just so impatient.
I wonder, are you using a scanner, like a fob?
I have one, but if I'm not doing clothing, I am typically title searching.
Yeah, gotcha. So I want to say, and does anybody in here use ScanPower? Because I want to say that ScanPower shows the number of reviews, right, per child.
Oh, number of reviews? Number of reviews per child? I'll have to look at that.
I'll look at that later. Let me actually.
Does AZ Insight sync with ScanPower?
No.
I know it syncs with Inventory Lab. I get that because you can get the AZ Insight stuff.
That's for hazmat, though.
Hazmat, restricted.
Right.
All of that. But I don't know if it goes into ScanPower, their software.
Yeah. So, Chris, thanks for sharing that ASIN with us.
Yes.
Good stuff. Hope that's helpful for everybody as we review that stuff.
Okay. So this was just my limited opinion on removing and holding. If your Keepa tells you that Amazon is in and out a lot, or that Amazon will go out in a certain season, or they go out frequently, or maybe this thing is seasonal and there's a spike coming. If the trend shows there's a spike coming, then maybe hold for the spike. Victoria talked about Legos, and that popped in my head when I was writing this. If it's on super clearance right now, but as soon as the price tankers are gone, the thing is going to bounce back. Legos are classic. People love Legos, and the prices will bounce back even if they're tanked right now. And you do need money and you need space to do this. So if you don't have either one of those, then it's not recommended. So removing and relisting, and what I mean by that is you take it, you bring it back and you send it in on a different listing. Is there a hidden listing that you title search and it's the same thing? There's two different listings. You sold on one and it got flooded because it's a barcode scan, and then there's this other that's doing okay and it's more profitable, but it doesn't pop up when you barcode scan it, so there's not very many sellers on it, right? You title search it, and so that's a hidden listing. Is there a bundle idea where you can put it with something else? Is it a multi-pack where you can break it up and sell it individually? Those were just my ideas about relisting.
So what's your thoughts on making those efforts worth it? Like how much money should be involved? How many units? That kind of stuff.
That depends. do you make, can you spend $300 in 1 hour? Are you going to make $300 in an hour doing this work here?
Mm-hmm.
I overbought on a certain thing and I had 200 of them and I had to come up with a bundle. I had to do something with it because that was going to be a big loss if I didn't.
Yep.
So I chose to, okay, let's think for a minute and figure something out and remove it and relist it. And you were talking about, are you stepping over dollars to get your dimes or whatever? So you really have to think about how much am I,
No. Yeah. That's
Step
right.
over the dollar. So you're missing the dollar to get the dime.
That's right. Right. Yeah. So I've got a few stories about this. One was it was a wholesale item, but it was this 12-pack of this smaller item. And the reason I was doing the 12-pack was because it was a cheaper item and I was trying to get that average sale price up, to that $25 range.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a bust. I mean, it did not move at all. All the Keepa data just like went away. Like when I bought it originally, it was great. And then it went in and it didn't, it was supposed to be a Halloween item. Well, so I started doing some keyword research and I found out that there wasn't a single unit of this particular item for sale, or there might've been a few, but they weren't that great. So I got a really good photo. I used the Amazon Lightbox, took a good photo, made a decent listing. And then I actually did a play on a popular show. Like it was a Disney show and I didn't really know what it was. It just popped up through my keyword research on Helium 10. And actually this thing is now a private label item of mine that I source through a wholesaler. Like I have them reorder it from China for me and they gave me like an MOQ and everything. But this all became because I royally screwed up with this item. And now it's like a staple in my catalog.
Right.
And then I also did this with a Q4 item where I bought it. I think this listing actually made it to our group. It was a Rubbermaid item. And I bought like 2 pallets worth from Walmart, got it home and was like, oh crap, it's not on Amazon. and it was a mismatch. And so it was like, if I sent it in, it may have passed, but probably not. So I was like, let me just make my own listing. And it was, I had a good number of inventory and it was started off at like 150% ROI. So it was worth it, but if I only bought 3 of something and then I'm like, oh, I got to make a listing for these.
Right.
I'm taking that back to the store. I'm not fussing around with that. So, Chris, so you said, you make all your bundles from scratch. Yes. It depends on what it is. Was that question for me or for Tony? Because
it says you all, probably talking to all of us.
All, either way. Yeah. So bundles from scratch. Yeah. I mean, what do you mean when you say from scratch? Do you mean like we do our own research and try to figure out what to list it with and that kind of stuff?
Well, I mean, there's ways to get ideas like the frequently bought with.
Correct.
That's a good idea.
So we create our own listing and you don't have to do like when you're creating like a skeleton listing, it's not rocket science. You can get super deep in the weeds of like how you should structure out your keywords and all that kind of stuff. I like to use common sense and just say, okay, if somebody is looking for this item, what would they type in? And then think of those search terms. Make your photo really good, your first image really good. And yeah, I would say, go from there. I mean, it can't be super competitive if it's one of those things where there's like several other listings with, let's say 500 reviews and up, and you're going to try to like beat them out. It's just not going to happen. But if yours is like a, kind of offshoot, it's not super competitive, then you can do that. Right.
On the lines of listing optimization and making a listing, I did recently learn that like your title is super important, and you need to have your title set, because if you were to go in and let's say the thing starts selling and you change your title, all of a sudden that's where Keepa breaks. Like have you seen where Keepa's been tracking and then it stops for whatever reason? Someone told me that's probably because the title got changed, so it stopped tracking because of a change there. So.
Yeah. Your title is very important. so your first, like, the algorithm's forever changing. I mean, that's what everybody, like the private label guys, everybody's trying to figure out what's Amazon doing with the algorithm, so that you can rank. But yeah, so your keywords in your title are most important, and then bullet points.
But the picture sells. The picture will sell the item.
A picture will. Yeah, if your picture's terrible, and that's actually one way that you can, like, if you get really good at taking photos and there's listings that like could be doing a lot better. Like, it's so funny to me, listings with like really crappy photos that sell like hotcakes. I'm just like,
right.
what are these? How? And imagine what it would do if the photo was updated,
Yeah, so that kind of segues into our next slide, more considerations. We talked about repricer minimum, listing optimization. If you have stale inventory, look at that item. Is there something you can do to make it better? Does it have any bullet points, any description, any photos? Does it have a terrible photo? Can you take a better photo? Can you do something quick to optimize the listing and get it moving? Right, because this is sort of like moving stale inventory discussion here. So if you can do something quick to optimize and get it moving.
What's quick to you, Tony?
Quick? Submitting a case that takes 5 minutes to get a thing moving. A picture is going to take 20 minutes, so I need to have several of the items in there.
Yeah, so just think about that. When I think quick, I think of dollar per hour, right? Like, if you do this for 10 minutes, are you going to make $100? Go do that then. But if you do this for 10 minutes and you're only going to make $1, don't do it. Just get rid of it and cut your losses. And look at things as more learning opportunities, and also think about economies of scale. If you're starting out and you have 100 active SKUs, that's a lot different than 2,000 active SKUs. Okay, and so things are going to change the larger your catalog grows, and so just consider that. Don't piddle around with things that you shouldn't. Get really good at that sourcing part of it, and then things like listing optimization, virtual assistants. If you just go to Upwork, there's tons of people out there that will do it, or Fiverr, for really, really cheap, and they've got experience with it. And so you could test some of them out and just give 10 ASINs and say, go optimize these and see what happens. So
good idea.
Tarrant Toolbox.
I just hired them. It takes a little while to get set up. They bill in 2 week cycles, so they'll like do batches of stuff. But you have to send them your orphans, the ASINs, and then the parent ASIN, but they do all the work. I tried to follow the course and I realized this is not for me. I messed it up royally. So I decided, let's just hire the experts, because I'll pay them $15 an hour and I'll go shop and make $300 an hour. So Tarrant Toolbox, Livette, are you asking if you have to give Tarrant Toolbox access to your account?
I think she posted that before you mentioned that. I think she's asking. Oh, Tarrant Toolbox. I thought you were talking. I was wrong. Yes.
The VA.
Toolbox.
You thought it might have been.
Well,
either one.
Yes, you do.
They do have to have limited permissions to your account, and let me tell you, Tarrant Toolbox, the people that work there, they have a lot to lose if they were to get any kind of shady in your account, because they're very well known in the community and they're very well respected. So I didn't have any problem.
Yeah, no, they're good. And Amazon, if you've never given permissions before, you can restrict quite a bit.
Yes.
And like all they're going to need is access to add a product, and
there's a few. She as soon as she gets your application, she's messaging you and telling you exactly what you need to do and what permissions you need to give. She's real on top of it. So
yeah, awesome. Good stuff.
And Easy Key. Didn't we have an Easy Key webinar?
We did with Barbara Boshin. Yeah. So Easy Key is just this bulk uploader of search terms on the back end. And so, yeah,
all right.
It's pretty
Q&A time. It's ASIN looking up time. Didn't we get a couple of ASINs that we need to kind of evaluate here?
It is 9:22. We say we go for another 8 minutes.
Okay. I did promise some help. So
You did.
let's do what we can. I don't think there's too many. So Paul, do you want to drive? You want to find the ASIN?
Hand me one. Where are they at?
In the chat.
In our chat? Way up, huh? Let's see.
There's the Sour Patch Kids.
I got it.
Okay. And then there might have been one from the group too.
I feel like we should have, I wonder if there would be like a contest that we could do with like analyzing ASINs or something like that. I feel like there's got to be a game show that we can do for this. All right, so what are we figuring out here? Here's one, Sour Patch Kids, Dollar Tree. Posted in the group. Panic because Valentine's is coming and feel like I need to liquidate before that day comes. Okay. So, Chris, you want to know, so Amazon is not going to jump on a listing like this. They don't bundle stuff like this typically. But, all right, let me share. Am I sharing?
No, not yet.
Okay. Did you make this listing, Tony?
Nope, I don't think so.
This is a great example of something that anyone can do.
Are you sharing? You gonna share?
I'm going to share. Tell me when.
Go ahead.
All right.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Well, let's see. So, Chris, tell me that. What'd you say? Generalized question than just that specific ASIN. Can you clarify what you mean by that, or do y'all understand what he's saying?
Let me go back and read it again.
All right, so I'm going to analyze this one really quick.
So he's worried about liquidating seasonal candy before that day, the holiday comes.
Yeah, so this is definitely specific Valentine's candy and more than likely won't really sell outside of it Valentine's Day. So with this
that may be a mistake. I'm just going to stop. As a seasoned holiday candy seller.
As a season holiday. Okay. So you think that somebody might like just love.
Hey, these are adorable. Like you want to give a cute message to your, significant other. Conversation hearts have a cult following.
So
and these are Sour Patch. So
see, here's what I would do. I'm gonna go and see, is this item also, so there's a bunch of other ASINs of this.
I would probably start with one that has more reviews than the rest.
That's right.
And see if there's historical data.
Boom. Look at that 5. So the pack of 3, whoa, that's cheap. $4.98. See, it's funny because you can buy the 4-pack for $10.78 or the 3-pack. Oh, Amazon shoppers. I don't let my wife shop on Amazon because she picks the wrong listing. She goes for the higher price. Yes, let's see. Does this have over? All right, we got a year's worth of data. Uh-oh. And Zoom is like bogging me down. So it does sell throughout the year. Barely, but it's selling. So you can see the spike just, right, of sellers went from 4 to 25, 26 in a matter of days. And you can see the rapid decline. So what I do is I'm dragging and I'm highlighting into that Keepa, and I'm seeing what's that peak day. So Valentine's Day is going to change. Is it? Well, it's February 14th every time, right? So,
yeah, your shipping days may change.
So that
prime shipping.
Peak days are Feb 9th-ish to Feb 12th. So if you don't sell by then, by February 12th, it's possible that you'll be holding on to your stock for a little bit longer. And the reason that we went to this ASIN is because this ASIN, the 4-pack that you gave us, only has 73 days worth of data. So we have no way of knowing if it's going to sell or not. So, but because this is a popular item, popular brand, we just copy pasted that title into Amazon, and then we just found an ASIN that had more reviews and a year's worth of data. Okay. So again, though, it does, I'm just going to double click and bounce out of that. It does sell throughout the year. And obviously no more sellers are coming in stock because the retail stores don't carry this item anymore. But what you could do, since you know it sells throughout the year, is whenever it goes on 90% clearance at Walgreens or Dollar Tree or wherever, you can scoop it up and you know, again, it slowly sell out.
Yep,
Thoughts?
and this probably has a very long expiration date. So it's not like chocolate's going to expire pretty soon. It's not meltable. I really like these kinds of things. I prefer to see as the supply goes down, I like to see the price going up and not really just holding steady there. I probably wouldn't make an effort to scoop up all of these that I could find because you're right. It's not a great seller throughout the rest of the year, but if you get stuck with some, it will sell. So
don't have to panic.
Yeah.
Don't have to panic. You're given as long as you don't have that many.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Unless you bought 500. And then there was one more that I picked up from the group. One more ASIN.
Wait, Chris, you said it's a 12-pack. Is it a 12-pack? Oh, yeah. Okay. So, so you know what somebody did is they just took this and then just photoshopped it into 4. So really quick, I want to talk about making ASINs. Someone somewhere made this ASIN and they said, I'm not going to compete with the other guys on this 3-pack. I'm just going to sell 12-pack. And whenever they started selling it, the price was higher, $20.
Yeah.
Now the price is half of that. So
people found it.
Yeah, people found it. So you see these bullet points here? Let's start at the title. Sour Patch Kids. If somebody's looking for this, that's what they're looking for, right? And you should certainly have Valentine's Day in the title because that's what it's for. And then down here, they got the bullet points. And so if you're like, let's say I wanted to take this 12-pack and make it a 24-pack, it's literally as simple as just changing that image. And you can maintain all of these same bullet points and just change that to 24 instead of 12. And you have your own listing right there. And so again, you can come down here and see all these other ones that they sell and stuff. So
good tips, Paul.
All right.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
Do you want to analyze the last one? One more?
Oh, yeah.
I put it in the, oh, I forgot the word group. Here's the one from the group. Should be group.
From the ASIN.
Yep. Thanks for staying on with us, guys. Chris, Julia, Livette, Paula, Stephanie.
Does anybody else want to analyze an ASIN?
No. Go ahead. Oh, Victoria, you might help us out. You have lots of popular game experience.
Come on, Victoria.
Right?
Taboo. So what's the issue with this ASIN? We're just figuring out why it's not moving?
Trying to figure out how to move it.
How to move it. So fairly high sales rank. Only 2 bullet points. So, but it's a really, that's what people are looking for, right? Taboo speak out. Isn't that what people would type in? Isn't speak out a big game?
It's a merging of 2 games.
It's
this particular one is a mashup.
Oh, okay, so it's Taboo and Speak Out together. That's a lot of sellers. So to me, let's see. I think there were a lot of hopes. This probably was on sale for Black Friday, and a lot of people bought it, and there's a lot of inventory. And so you could see that it peaked at 40. If this was a true mover, this blue line in number of sellers would be declining, but it is steady as can be. And everybody's just like, come on, just let me get out of it. Let me get out of it. Let me get out of it. And it's dropping. And it bumped back up a little bit. But as that price is dropping and moving up and down, the number of sellers really aren't doing anything. And so that tells me the
They all
velocity,
overbought.
everybody overbought. The velocity is just not able to keep up with the amount of inventory in stock. And so I would just personally be super aggressive and penny drop and do whatever you got to do to get out of this one. So we got a question. How come some ASINs have a really low rank, but if you look at Keepa, it's a flat line?
So the really low rank, imagine that every time it sells, it's like pushing the bar graph down. So it just like keeps pushing it down and holding it down. The better the rank, the more the bar graph is just pushed down. When you have the spike, the sharp spike, and then a rise, it's not selling. It's not selling and it's rising. And then when it does sell, it spikes down. So a flat graph that's pushed down with a really great rank, it's just because every sale is keeping it pushed down.
That's right.
Right.
And it's also really helpful to notice that, like, I'm not sure what happened in this scenario here. Well, it was, so for some reason, there was like no sales from January 11th to January 15th.
Mm-hmm.
Something happened, maybe an algorithm, and then boom, it dropped to 9,000. So maybe that was just a Keepa reporting data issue or something.
Could be.
Or maybe an Amazon catalog issue, and then it started showing up again. And but at any rate, it is a really slow mover. And
go to the month. Maybe we can count how many times it's sold this month. Yeah. I mean, that's not bad.
Well, it's relative, right? This with 2 sellers isn't bad. This with 40 sellers is bad, in my opinion. Again, we could go to...
How many sellers are within buy box range?
Oh, let's see. This is going to take...
It said one seller was within 3%.
Yeah, so 1590, 1850, 1890. So, but again, you see right here where it says preferred products USA 1. I bet this dude has buku. If you only had one, it'd be kind of silly to drop $3 or $2.50, whatever that is, to get that buy box. If we wanted to dig into the seller, I would say more than likely they probably have a wholesale account with this company or whatever and buy a lot of inventory. What's your thoughts without even digging into that seller?
The name seems like I'm a wholesaler name.
I'm a big seller. I mean, out of respect.
You could look at the reviews, how many reviews they have. That might tell you if they're wholesaling.
Right. So all FBA sellers, yeah. Are we answering the question? Is that...
How many do you have? How much of a loss are you taking? Don't ever pay Amazon to sell your item. Like, right. Don't ever go like 100% ROI loss. Like,
yeah, you're losing money.
You don't want to do that.
You're paying them, like, throw it away. Yeah. So, I mean, if you got this for $10, you're losing $1.37. But let's say you bought it for 15. What number would we have to be at?
What do you see this selling for, Victoria? What do you think maybe they bought it for?
This one was $16.99 at a specific retailer. It was $19.99, but then it went into a buy 2 get 1 free.
So $16.99 and buy 2 get 1.
Yeah.
She bought it for $13. Julia did.
Yeah, it's about there.
Get out.
Lose $4
or $5.
Get your $8 back. Buy something else.
Yep.
She could recall and take back. That retailer has a 90-day return policy.
Yeah. So weigh it out, right? Like, if you're visiting that retailer a lot, don't make a special trip just to go get your few bucks back. Like, take it the next time you're going to source. and
Yeah.
yeah, but just make sure that you're still within that return policy. So for these sellers though, even if you, not necessarily, it all depends on what their threshold is. If they drop, I mean, the only way to find out is to do it. And if you're the first one to do it,
We already see, we have some data on here. We've got one seller at this low price and the rest aren't following.
right, the rest are not there. So you'd be the only other one. That other one seller will probably follow you. Oh, this is interesting. In stock on January 31st. Boom. So if you did that now, it's the 27th, you'd get the buy box if you matched him at 15.90.
So go back up to the other prices, the other sellers' prices. You could even do 18.49 and you'd be the cheapest with an available offer right now.
That's true. Yep. You might not get the buy box, but you'll be
high on the list.
Yeah, high on the list. I personally would match or go a little bit above him or her, whoever that is, the company.
Does that help, Julia?
16.
I feel like this was a really great, successful, productive, like, let's help people out kind of webinar.
Yep.
So I love it. I hope you guys thought this was helpful. Thumbs up if y'all thought it was good, or a yes if you want more. All right. Good. Thanks, Paula. Appreciate that.
She said, I'm taking them back. Good. I'm glad we could help you decide that. Well, let us know if you have any follow-up questions, what you would like to see in future Q&As and all that good stuff. We are here to help and serve.
Yes. Thanks for hanging in there, Paul. You're looking a little tired.
Well, thank you. You know,
you've been getting up at 5 a.m. I can say that. You're more dedicated.
The only problem is I didn't wake up at 5 a.m. today. I woke up at 7. I've got kids. You know what it is.
Yeah.
I'm also a boy, so I don't get to wear makeup. And you know, I have children because I just called myself a boy. So I did. I told you before I got on here, I asked my wife, and so I was like, should I shower before I do this webinar? She was like, you look fine.
You're fine. You're fine.
Great.
We're all in the same boat.
That's right. I'll turn my light off here. No way nobody can see me.
I'm just teasing you.
All right. Well, y'all have a great night, and we'll post this recording once it converts, and we'll hop it into the Facebook group.
Thank you. Thanks, Victoria, for hanging in with us.
Yes, thank you, Victoria.
It's always fun hanging out with you guys.
All right.
Definitely.
We'll see y'all later.
See ya.
Bye.